Hey guys, it's Jay. Welcome to the Atlanteans. This is episode 35. I'm here with Alec and Joe. How you guys doing?
Hello, I'm
I'm going to
doing
talk at the
well.
same time as Alec.
Oh, he tried. He
Sorry.
tried. You missed it, but you tried.
Yeah,
It was
I tried.
close.
Oh,
Oh man, I'm
terrible
doing
day.
well. I'm feeling a little bit better. They are trying to figure out everything, and things are going good. I'm hoping to have another IKRPG event at the house for my players here in a little bit, which I'm excited about because I have some plans for them. And I've been painting, and I'm getting ready to put in my order for all of the replacement gravediggers that were broken in the move, which
Oh
is
man.
going to be pretty much all of them except for um, Cynthia and Hasker. So I'm excited to order pretty much the entire gravedigger army. My wife was trying to see if I could, she's trying to talk me into just buying used to see if I can buy a used army and then paint that. And then everything else that for what they broke, I'm going to put into a account and save for the new Protectorate of Menoth
Yeah,
because
Menoth.
that's going to probably be a lot of money. A lot of my money will be just going
I don't know. You have
here.
all of it already, so
I need all the new stuff, and I need over FA because that's how my
if there
brain
is new
works.
stuff,
If there is new stuff, I mean, they talked about that at Lock and Loaded in England, so we know.
did they really show anything new? I didn't see anything new.
Oh,
I mean,
don't say
yes,
that.
there was like TFG that were not called TFG protectors that had like that were like hulked out, but they looked exactly like TFG.
No, no. See,
And
here's the
there
thing:
was a
the
Revenger
protector,
Light Warjack that was straight up a Revenger Light Warjack,
the protector have learned
and
about growth enhancement hormones, and they are now giving
there
them
was
to
a
all of their people.
and there was like a
Some of them
Jack,
have
a
enormous weird
Warjack that had a
arms.
shield and a spear that were like the two different Jacks as like one, which mine
No,
is
dude,
magnetized to already. So I haven't seen anything new from the army yet. Yes,
I
there's a new
have
caster that's a TFG guy that we've seen, but like,
I have
is it
faith.
really new?
Yes, there is definitely new. I have faith in Matt. I have faith in Locks. I have faith in Sherwin. I have faith in Jamie. I
Better
have
name them
faith
all,
in
Alec.
all of you. All of you. I have faith, gentlemen. I have faith. Also, you guys have my
Let's see.
address just in case you do want to send anything.
Oh man. I mean,
I'm just kidding.
Fane looks so interesting, and like Old
Oh,
Umbre was really cool, and Gravediggers was dope. Like,
dude.
and I'm missing Kithgard, which would have been incredible. Like,
Oh my God.
give them some time. Let them reveal what their master plan is. I'm here for it.
Dude, Fane. So I have ridden. I like, and mind you,
I
I
think we're
can
getting
always.
ahead of ourselves, guys.
Oh,
Isn't
sorry.
Fane like
Well,
something that we're
let's
supposed to
just
be
launch
talking
into it.
about in this episode? Like,
I
Yeah,
guess.
our
introduce
listener
our
that doesn't.
topic, and then
Yeah.
let's get into it. Yeah.
Okay.
All
Yeah.
right. So we're gonna be talking about the Lock and Load update. It's no longer a keynote. They're doing keynotes at Adepticon every year, and they'll be doing updates throughout the year at different conventions and things. So that's our topic for the day. So, Fane.
Fanes. Amazing looking models. Very excited. Have new dynamics for management of their what did they call it? The hunger. So,
The
Joe, what do you
hunger,
think
yeah.
about that? Do you like the hunger? Do you like the idea of their what did you hear about their stuff, Joe?
Yeah. So let's see. So, do we want to talk rules or models first? We should split those topics. And also, I want to talk fluff. Where do you want to start?
Okay,
Um,
let's start rules because that's what
okay.
most people
So
are probably going to hear. Rules, then models, then fluff, probably. Does
okay,
that
I
work for you
like it.
guys?
Yeah.
Yeah. So I'll summarize what we know about the rules so far. So Fane is going to play pretty differently from other factions, which I think is awesome. They're exploring some new kinds of design space. And like part of that is going to be that like their leaders are going to play much more far forward than normal. They have much more survivability. Their beasts, it sounds almost like they're going to be leading their peace trading with their beasts. The beasts aren't really like the heavy damage modules in the army. Rather, they generate this resource called the hunger that all the models that all the eldritch models in the army can use to do cool things. So don't even know where to begin there. I'll give you some examples of things they can do with the hunger. So one thing they have is a defensive mechanic that they can spend throughout the game. You accumulate hunger points by doing things, and one way to get hunger is like by using your beasts to damage enemy models, I think, or kill enemy models. I think that's one way to get points
models.
of hunger.
Mm-hmm.
There's a beast that gets damage that gets a hunger point when it's damaged. There's also an ability that what's this called, Jay? Do you know what I'm talking
Torment?
about?
Talking about
There's
torment?
there's torment, which is the new type of continuous effect. When you do torment to a model, it can't heal. And
So it has two effects. Yeah, it has two effects. So the first effect is, so if the hunger doesn't go out, if the torment doesn't go out at the beginning of your opponent's turn in the maintenance phase, when other continuous effects would expire, you roll to see if it goes out like a normal continuous effect. And if it doesn't go out, your opponent gets 1 point of hunger for each model that's still tormented. In addition, tormented models, large base or smaller tormented models cannot heal. So XL base 80 mils and 120s will still be able to heal.
Yep, but it can stop some healing on a beast, which is like a nice side bonus. You start the game with 3 hunger. There's no limit to how many you can have, and they don't go away until you spend them. So you're going to accumulate them throughout the game. I guess over as the game goes further and further, you'll get more and more hunger, so you'll get more and more powerful in some sense. So when all friendly faction models have this shadow shift ability, which is when they are directly hit by an enemy attack after the attack is resolved, they can spend 3 hunger, choose another friendly faction model within 4 inches, and then you place the model that was hit
after the attack resolves.
Yeah, after the attack is resolved. Yeah, you place the model that was hit. You put it base to base with the other model, and then you remove the chosen model from play. And so it sort of like allows you to like, yeah, it's a pretty powerful defensive mechanic.
It is and it isn't, because like when they were talking about it, it sounded like when you got hit, you could disappear and have the other model that you were placed into base to base with hit instead, and that model would just die. Is what it sounded like mechanic work. That's not really how it works. They still take damage from the hit, or the resolution from the hit, but then they disappear, sacrifice a model, and so they can like remove themselves from combat. So like if a beast hits them, they can like a caster can hop back to one of your warrior model unit guys and remove that model from play and only take the single hit. So there's a little bit of placement stuff, which seems strong, but at the same time, you still have to take that initial hit, which is different than how I understood it when they were describing it to us.
Yeah, it's not like a shield guard effect, right?
Right.
It doesn't like displace the damage, but it is going to make this army really hard to commit into. Like,
but remember,
charge their heavy Warbeast, you might get 1 strong hit on it, and then that Warbeast can spend 3 hunger and teleport backwards, and you're not in melee with it anymore.
You got to remember though, they still have their standard warlock abilities, so you could get hit, transfer damage, and then activate the hunger. So you could still take that first initial hit, put the damage off to a beast, and then get your warcaster out of there to a safe position. So that still is like you might have to take the hit technically, but like you're still out of there.
Everything we've seen, they've shown us off so far. I mean, yeah, there's a lot of the army that we haven't seen what it does, but all the stuff we've seen so far is sort of like somewhat expensive, multi-wound, and so like you're gonna have to the army's gonna have to have a bunch of like single wound or fairly cheap stuff that they can use as these sack pawn targets, or else you're basically going to be sacrificing expensive other models to be able to do this effect, and it's going to cost you three of your hunger stat to do it every time you do it.
You remember
I think
with
the
Infernals
ability
where
is
they have the cultists?
so- yeah.
I bet you it's like that. I bet you're gonna have like a cultist type unit where that's what it's gonna be like your meat shields. I can't guarantee it, but I'm gonna guess
There's
with an
definitely
ability
some
like that.
zombie looking stuff in the stuff that we've seen from the display, from the case, and from the announcement video. So there
Mhm.
definitely probably is some stuff like that. I think it's an interesting mechanic. I'm still gonna hold out. There's some other stuff with that the faction does that I think is a lot more interesting. At least I find a lot more interesting.
Yeah.
I like
I
that
think,
they're beasts. Oh, go ahead. Sorry. No, go ahead.
I'll just say, so the one infantry unit we've seen is the Fane Knights. It's 6 points for 3 models. I think, I think that's cheap enough to make this ability really strong. It's going to be hard to play melee into this army because, like, you'll charge them, he'll take one hit, and then they'll bounce out, and hard to piece trade positively into something like that.
See, I have an idea though about that because I've been thinking about it.
Mm-hmm.
Daughters of the Flame. So the first hit comes in with Temple Flame Guard. They step back. The daughters move through with acrobatics and hit you again. And
Yeah,
if need
that's the
be,
kind of thing
the
you're gonna need
daughters
to
come
do,
back
right?
again and hit you a third time after you've because I don't know how many times you could step back. You're gonna burn that hunger.
So the other thing is you can just kill all the models so they're within 4 inches.
Yeah, and I think that's going to be
Right.
like the main kind of counterplay is like
Right.
is it's gonna force you to kill all of those models within 4 inches or charge in such a way that they can't get out of melee with you.
Yeah.
Which is like a legit form of counterplay, but
I mean, so I think it's going to be tough for them not to be able to get a melee with you because it's a place effect. And so, like, you can place, this says place them in base to base. So you can put them behind them, the model that they're teleporting to. And so it's not like they're just moving 4 inches. They could be moving as much as like 6 inches for a large base model.
Yeah, even more maybe.
Even more possibly. So
Mhm.
there's some big distances that can be, there's some big counterplays. So you really have to, like, I think the army's going to be, it's going to be a lot about positioning, both offensively and defensively, and your opponent is basically trying to remove that bubble from the caster, or remove that bubble from the whatever the component they're trying to
Yeah,
kill.
they're going to try to isolate whatever model they want to kill, right?
Yeah.
And
And
then
the other important thing is this place effect. When you remove the model, when you destroy the model that it moved to, that model is removed from play, so you won't be able to recur it. That's another important piece.
So I think that's pretty good. You can do other things with the hunger. Every warcaster has like unique abilities you can do. The one they previewed had a couple of interesting things, but like this is Hysene the Executioner. Her big one, or her like most flashy one, is spending 7 hunger points to give a model decapitation on their next melee attack.
Oh, isn't it model or unit? I thought it was.
It's model. It's not model unit.
It's model, but
unit,
okay.
But
it'd be pretty busted.
Her special thing is that it's any. So hers can be used by any Eldritch model, and it sounds like each caster is going to have different requirements, and so like for her, it's any of the Eldritch in her army can use one of her 3 abilities that she grants.
Yeah, on a lot of models, decap I think is kind of overrated. It's like sort of just like, this is not exactly true, but it's in many ways it's similar to just getting another attack with the same weapon. If it's a charge, it's also boosted, so that's a benefit. But they preview one of the models they previewed is a Strigan Rider, which has a single shot armor piercing POW 10 lance. And when you give that thing decapitate, it's like value is like quite high. So I mean, I think that's going to be a thing we're going to see is, POW 10 charges from armor piercing decapitate weapons out of this faction, which is going to be kind of nutty, but it's an 8-point solo. The Warbeasts don't hit that hard. So,
remember they said the
really
Warbeasts
see how all these things come together. Yeah.
if you remember, they said the Warbeasts aren't supposed to be your big in there brute fighters. They're like
they're
the
your
assault.
hunger generating.
Yeah, they're like your
They give
part of your
torment.
toolkit.
They give torment, and the first time they kill a model, the light ones get 1 point, and the heavy ones get 2 points of hunger each time they kill a model.
Yeah. So they're
And then the
they're
light
really
one has a head that the first time it's hit, and it has shield guard as one of its options. First time it takes damage, you get a hunger. So they're mainly there to generate hunger. I don't know if you've caught this yet or not, Joe. I was actually looking at them earlier today, and one of the big questions we had was that because they have a rule, most of them have a rule where when they frenzy, the beasts can still activate after they frenzy, or some of them can even frenzy multiple times in a turn.
yeah.
Yeah,
And
they're playing a lot with the frenzy mechanic for these guys.
We were wondering, like, how does this work? Because, like, when a model frenzies, it tends to charge the closest thing in front of your enemy. And if it's frenzying a bunch of times, like, how is that beneficial? Maybe this was something that was updated, or maybe I just didn't catch it my first read through. But the character beast, Sibiris, the really cool one that's in the starter box, has conditioned, which lets it, when it frenzies, charge an enemy model within 10 inches of your choice.
Oh, that's sick. Yeah.
And the heavy beast, one of its conditions, that each heavy beast has a head, a wings, and a conditioned state. One of its conditioned state does the same thing.
Oh, okay. So you get to choose.
So
Yeah, I mean, I kind of imagined them as like missiles where you fire them into your enemy's lines, and then it's like the old primal thing, right? Where it's your opponent's problem when they frenzy because they're deep in their lines. But this is a little bit nicer than that.
The light ones, I think there's basically two builds for them. The 40 mil ones. There was one build that is like a shield guard that has some sprays and some like lengthening of sprays. And so you have like one that's defensive, and the rest of them you basically are missiles that you just throw in there because some of their heads they can frenzy like 2 or 3 times in a turn plus their activation. So it's insane if you have this little beast like hopping around with boosted attack and damage rolls from frenzying, and then getting to activate, having attack up to 3 attacks on top of that. So
and giving you hunger, mind you, like giving
exactly.
So that's huge.
Hunger and handing out torment.
Yeah, this like new play style where you're throwing your beasts forward first, and they're not the heavy hitters, and like I feel like this army's probably counter punching a lot, and it has some good survivability through through Shadow Shift. Like it really appeals to me as a play style. There aren't nearly enough models out right now to know
I'm
to
interested
understand the whole picture, but I like the idea of where it's going.
I'm interested to see what some of the other stuff does. Like I'm sure from the pictures we've seen, and I know as soon as we get to Fluff, we're going to start talking about the Fane Scorn connection.
Gosh. Yeah.
And so much of their stuff looks like Undead Scorn units and solos. Like so much of their infantry that was shown off. They're not exactly the same, but like they have some of the same armor details. They have weapons that are very similar. I swear to God, there's blood runners in the army, and they're painted with red cloaks. I mean, like, and it looks like Rashest is one of them.
The Clivenish.
Yeah.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And I know it's so. So here's my question, and maybe this is a good segue into talking about the fluff. So, do we think that this sort of Scorn flavor that we're getting, because we know that Scorn are sort of like cousins of Ios, and they were around when the cataclysm happened, when the gods came down and caused the original Ios to blow up, and basically the Tower of Babel moment. And they were sort of left in the aftermath to pick up the pieces, and they sort of like use some of that technology to create their empire. Do we think that the Fane stuff we're seeing, these units that have a lot of similarity to Scorn, the Scorn stuff that we're familiar with, do you think that they are like the progenitors, and the Scorn stuff was created based upon them? Yes. Or do you think it's actually like Scorn stuff that has, because like Ios and Scorn were allied recently, So do you think it's Scorn stuff that was sort of procured on the battlefield and brought into by the Fane as they were trying to gain power?
All right,
Yeah,
Joey,
Alex, you should go first because I have a million thoughts on this.
Okay,
but
so
you
I
should
think
speculate
they
first.
definitely are one of the progenitors of them. I think they helped form, like probably thousands of years prior, they helped form the Empire of Scorn, and then they probably, because you had all the torture pits and everything like that, they probably were able to get fed from the Scorn Empire just a little bit, maybe from like the upper tiers, and
Just a little bit of feeding, right?
just a little bit. But think about it, like,
Maybe.
because they're deep underground, so you just, you're like, oh, hey, we feed this to the void, and then we're gonna throw these bodies of these slaves down here, and what happens to those slaves? Don't worry about those slaves.
But Ios and the Scorn Empire are nowhere near each other. And
well, yeah, but here you have to remember,
the Nyrro undead are in the bowels of the Ios Empire. They came.
Yeah, but we don't know how far those tunnels go. Like the Cephalix and the Convergence have shown that those tunnels.
If the Scorn have been like one of the things, the reason that they became allies before that, the Scorn invaded Ios, and the reason they invaded Ios is because they were wandering around. They didn't know where Ios was, and they happened upon it when they were looking for new bases and things like that while they were invading Immorin and moving around. And so if their tunnels were connected and they were still connected to the Scorn in some way, and they still had access to the Scorn in some way, the Scorn would know that where Ios was, or generally where Ios was, and they didn't know that.
So what I'm saying is that just because the Fan of Nyrro, my thoughts are that the Fan of Nyrro left the Ios, or the area where the Ios were. They went to the I just blanked on what where are the Scorn from?
Western Immorin?
No, there's like a specific
Scorn
area.
Empire. Scorn Empire.
The Scorn Empire is from the Western Marches, or no, is it the Bloodstone Marshes?
Yeah.
It's on the other side of the Blood Marshes.
On the Bloodstone.
On the opposite side of Bloodstone Marshes.
Yeah.
So my thought is that there's these giant tunnels that go deep down below.
Yeah.
So if the Fan of Nyrro have over 1,000 years, or maybe more than 1,000 years, they traveled under these underground tunnels, under where the Scorn Empire would eventually become. Now, probably because they didn't.
I'll disagree with you.
Let me finish first. Let me finish the whole thing, and then you can disagree. They get out there. They detonate the tunnels behind them, or they shut the tunnels behind them, so they cannot be chased by the people, by Retribution, because Retribution hated the not the undead. I blanked on what they're called. But they hated the Eldritch.
Ios?
No, the Iosians hated the Eldritch because they separated.
Mm-hmm.
So they would probably close whatever way they got over to the Scorn Empire. Now, under the Scorn Empire, there's no Scorn Empire. They help some of those forces build up, knowing that if they're the puppet masters, because they talked about how they're the puppet masters and how they affect things. They do the puppet mastering of some of this stuff. They start the Scorn Empire. They never tell them that they're from Ios. They never tell them. They act like, as they said, they think they're gods, because they took the position of gods. They then eventually, when the Scorn Empire goes so high, one of two things either happen. Either they were cast aside because now the Scorn matriarchs, like Makeda, the highest ones, didn't want to give them bodies anymore, or they kind of put them into, like in 40K in the Dark Angels, where they have the inner circle and they don't talk about, the fallen. Maybe there's that situation. But either way, I think they helped form the Scorn Empire and have been pulling strings in the Scorn Empire. When Scorn went over and dealt with the Iosians, I think they didn't know that Fan of Nyrro was they either didn't have contact with Fan of Nyrro anymore, or they were being encouraged to go do that. So now tell me how you disagree.
Can I offer a different perspective?
Go ahead.
I think that Fan of Nyrro is not that old. I think they're old, they're ancient, but I mean the kingdom of Ios, where it is now, has been there for 1,000 years, and the cataclysm predates that. So I think that the cataclysm happened, and the elves that become the Fan of Nyrro are with the elves that are part of the cataclysm. I think that they're probably part of like the military or um, the clan, the cults, or the bad elves, or you call them dark elves or whatever you want to call them. But they're part of the society that heads over to Ios with the gods after the gods come down. And in the creation of the kingdom of Ios, they betray the gods, and that's when they're cast out. That's when they're cast into the catacombs under Ios, because they keep showing up from under Ios. I mean, like Gorshade finds them and learns how to be a lich after the Civil War in Ios, and then goes off and joins Crix. And then he infiltrates back into Ios later on, finds them, says, "Okay, you're working for me now," underneath Ios, and they go try and kill Syra and Nisser, and fail, and some of them get blown away. I mean, this is the same cult of Nyrro that has been under Ios forever. And so I think that's so the thing I was trying to get to about the connection to Scorn is I think that the Scorn patterned their sects of army, their priests and their the swordsmen with the blades in them. I forget what they're called, Joe. The pain cult guys. Or the blood runners and the
blood
different
runners
sects.
and the
I think
and
they
the beast handlers.
they patterned those aspects of their society on elven things, and I think the stuff that we're seeing is either Scorn that were killed and taken while they were allied together or during the war and have been made into servants, or they are eldritch from the past that have been serving in the underbowels with the liches or ghouls or whatever of dead elves, that are of the original sex and warrior training and warrior classes of the Elven Kingdom before Ios, that the Scorn equivalents were based upon. That was sort of where I was going.
Okay,
what do you think, Joe?
Can I give my 50-minute monologue?
Yes.
I don't know if either of you has read Atlas Shrugged, but at the end of it, there's
I
like
have.
100-page monologue, and this is basically going to be that. So, and I think everyone knows that that's the best part of the book. So, here we go. Okay, so there's definitely, even since like the very first time I played, there's been like a speculation that the elves and the Scorn are related, right? Like they both have pointy ears, right? I mean, how obvious could it be? But that there are more parallels between the two than that. They, like you say, they don't really share a border, Jay, but they are kind of adjacent to one another.
Well,
separated by the land where the cataclysm occurred, right?
We know that in the fluff they were present when the cataclysm happened and were left behind when the elves went to form Ios. We know that it's in the fluff.
Yep. We know that both the elves and the Scorn are like obsessed with souls, and for the Scorn, it's like they learned about the void, which is this like sort of area of endless suffering that you go to when you die. That's what happens to your soul. Also, speculated to maybe be the same place as Urkane, where the where we know the elven gods used to live or are living. But so the Scorn are obsessed with like preserving souls, preventing them from going to the void. Like they want to keep, so they keep they try to entrap people's souls in little soul stones so they don't have to go to the void.
Originally, they were heroes and people of note, and it wasn't until is it Ball? What's his name? The Warcaster that eventually becomes a an ancestral guardian.
Azal, yep.
Zal.
Yeah.
It wasn't until he like made the technology available to the common person, and during the war, that anyone but like the greatest
They're
champions
really
were given a
elite.
right.
Yeah. Yeah, that was
Right.
part of Scorn Society, right? It's like you
Yeah.
would fight and strive to become super elite and like one of
Right.
the
So
best
that your
warriors,
soul
so
could be
that you
captured
could preserve.
and not go into the void. Yes.
Yeah. So the Iosians also have a bunch of soul stuff, right? Like the sort of
Um,
central problem of the Iosians is that
it's
that many of them are being born without souls, and the way it's
because
supposed to work.
there aren't gods to. The reason that happened is because there aren't gods in heaven, because the gods came down, and so the bank of of reincarnated souls has depleted.
Yeah, and so when a new Iosian is born, like, a soul of a previous Iosian is supposed to come and inherit the body
Right.
of that person, right?
Yep.
And that process is broken, and so there are lots of Iosians being born without souls.
Right.
And Fan of Nyrro does yet a third thing, which is when a soul is supposed to leave the body, they use their like eldritch magic to like trap the soul and keep it in the body. And that's like what makes an eldritch, and also sounds super like the Scorn technology that we've been talking about, right?
Hold on.
Like,
So hold on. I'm pretty sure that an eldritch is a human consciousness without a soul, because
no, I think
they're dead, and so they don't have a soul, and so they can't. You don't get a soul token when a dead model dies. So
I
an
think the
eldritch
eldritch have
doesn't have a
souls, and
soul.
that's the thing that makes them eldritch, is that like,
I don't think. I think it's the other way around. I think that's the fact that they've stayed alive, they've used their magic or their life force or whatever that isn't their soul, and when they died, they lost their soul, and they stayed alive, and that's what makes them eldritch. Because an undead, if you think about it in game terms, an undead model when it dies doesn't provide a soul token.
yeah. My understanding of the reading is that like the Eldritch were undead Iosians, like their bodies were dead, but the souls refused to leave the body, so that
See,
they wouldn't go to like Urkane or
the
whatever to like do the next
that's
part
the
of the process,
opposite.
and that the
So
soul was like animating them.
so
Well,
the so the
because if they were the other way, then they would be like mechanothralls, right? And they're not like
well
mechanothralls,
well
right?
so okay so let me preface it with this. Okay, so when the the when dusk was formed, when the two gods were killed,
Hmm.
basically every elf in by the fluff, every elf in Ios was given a choice. Immediately was given a choice. At least the ones that had souls, they could either die and have their soul ripped from their body, sent back into Ursaean to rejoin the circle of reincarnation, or they could lose their soul, stay alive, um, and not leave with their gods.
But
That's
that's
the way the at least the
dusk,
way Private Witcher
right?
Press had that fluff happen. And so I'm pretty sure they're souls.
Okay, I don't know. My read was
Okay.
that they were like sort of undead who had managed to keep their souls somehow. But you're right, that's not reflected on their cards.
No. And
Anyhow,
it's yeah, yeah,
they're both super interested in souls. Um,
right.
we know that the cataclysm impacted both of them, and we also know that, God, say this guy's name,
Gearshield.
Gershield, Gershield,
Gorshade,
yeah,
Gearshield. G
Horseshade.
H
Just
and
call him
Y
Horseshade.
Hexeris,
R S H
Horseshade.
Y L D. Gearshield.
Gershield. Yeah, we know that both him and Hexeris teamed up to get
Yep.
for a like combining like elven soul magic with mortithurgy,
Yep.
um, as part of the
Well,
uh,
combined it.
fight to.
Ios stole the technology and then kicked the spawn out after they had it.
Yeah, I think, okay, I'll like, I'm gonna say one more thing, but I think actually
Yeah.
that what we're gonna find in Fane of Nero is that like these people with Scorn sigils and stuff basically just stole them. I don't think they're actually Scorn, which is unfortunate. But
I think
so,
some of them are, but not all of them.
so my understanding, and I don't know, I don't know if this is true, but what Parker told me is that what they revealed is that the truth behind the Scorn is that they are the progenitor race of the Iosians. and that
Interesting.
the elven gods, their first attempt at creating a species was the Scorn. But they screwed up the soul part. They didn't get it right. And so they abandoned the Scorn and they moved on and made the elves. And that's why there are a lot of similarities between the two. It's why there's parallels between the Void and Urkane. It's why like Mortithurgy parallels like Ioshan soulbinding kinds of things. But it does make me a little sad because I really wish those guys were Scorn, right? Like,
but hold on. If they have the connection, how do you know that they haven't gone over? Because they like in the keynote they said that they played Puppet Masters throughout all of Western Immorin. How do you know that?
Oh yeah, they very may have been directing the Scorn. That could totally be true, right? Like, yeah, we don't know they haven't been doing that.
I'm just hoping you get Makeda as a Eldritch, and that would.
I really want Rasheth as an Eldritch or Hexeris, right?
Gosh, ooh, Hexeris.
I mean, well, we already are pretty sure we're getting Rasheth as an Eldritch.
I love the way that model looked.
I mean,
that was the first thing that really sold me on.
He's wearing the same details. His blades are in the same spots.
He's a chubby boy.
No, so here's the thing. This could be, remember Star Wars Phantom Menace? Everyone was like, oh, there's a younger version of Yoda. And then you had Yaddle, which was the other one from that species. They could be doing the bait and switch. Maybe I just got traumatized by Star Wars 27 years ago. But
what if it's Hexeris and like when Grushild betrayed him, he got all like fluffy and
he just ate himself to
No. Oh man.
So his name is one other name is Rasheth, and the other one's name is Rasheth. And so as soon as his name really is, it's HA-Rasheth.
Oh wow. Okay.
That's his name.
Okay.
I rewatched the video before the episode. So yeah, it's Rasheth.
Okay. It really feels like that's Rasheth then, which would be so cool.
It does.
Like and that would make me probably get into this faction. I think I love the idea of converting them as Scorn and like adding some flesh hooks and some Scorn sigils and like some of them seem really fun to paint.
Here's the thing. So that unit of the two-handed blade guys, they didn't show us really great clear pictures of them. I swear to God, some of them have flesh hooks in their chest.
You're talking about the Clivenish?
Is that what they are?
In the guys in the red robes that look like blood runners?
No, the guys that have the two-handed hook swords. The guys that look exactly like whatever that Scorn unit is. What are they called?
I think it's the Clivenish.
Is that what they are?
I love saying words that I've never heard anyone say before.
Hey, you know what? Here's the thing. You say it the first time, and now everybody's going to say it like you.
Yeah. Oh, man. Can I want to say one thing I learned. So Thane is like, I think it means followers or worshippers. Or it's like the temple of.
Okay. No, the Fane is the temple. Because there's the Fane of Syra is where Syra and Nissa were kept. It's the Fane was like the central castle within each city of Ios, where the god is supposed to reside for each of the different cities and the different gods of Ios.
And it's really interesting because Nyrro is like the god of like the dawn and the light.
Interesting.
And which is like very opposed to like how vampires are, right?
Well, they don't have the damage like
the Arseer of Day and the Seneschal of the Divine Court.
Man, can you imagine if they took damage if you had some sort of sun ability?
Annihilate.
Right? Like,
that would be. I'm just saying. I didn't say it. You did. You might have read my mind, but I was just saying, like, can you imagine you had a sun or a fire?
That unit of guys that has the two-handed hook swords remind me so much of Annihilators. And I swear to God, I think some of them have blades in their chests, like Annihilator does.
Okay, yeah, that's not the Clivenish. That's
is the Clivenish the sort of the blood runner priestly
The
looking
really
guys.
blood runnery guys, yeah, they're
Yeah.
super blood runnery.
They straight are blood. They straight are blood undead blood runners.
Yeah.
Straight up.
And we're gonna learn that I'm completely butchering that name, but hey,
No,
whatever.
that's okay.
I
It's
can't even
fine.
Google it because I don't know how to spell it. Right? It's just like
No,
an
it's
impossible
okay.
piece of knowledge. Yeah.
You'll just get a message from Matt directly, and he'll be like, "Joe, I'm very disappointed in your pronunciation skills," and you'll just get to go and just cry. It's okay.
Just cry.
Yeah, there's a guys,
So
I
I
swear
don't
to
know.
God,
So I'm
they
really
have
excited
blades.
about these guys. Like the playstyle seems dope. The lore interaction seems like, man, it's just gonna answer questions about the setting that I've had for a long time, and gonna reveal some like really interesting things. Um, I love the idea of converting them to be more Scorn like. Like I think that could be a cool way to mod them. What did you guys think about the models?
I like the models, and I can't wait to use them in a IKRPG campaign because I want to send my people into the Underdark or whatever we're calling it. But
Mhm.
like in my mind, it's the Underdark, and I want to send people in and have them have to deal with all of the horrible. I know you can't jump scare, but I want to take a normal IKRPG campaign and make it horror. Like I did a little bit of that with Strange Light, but it was kind of like it kind of almost felt like Scooby Doo because that's what everybody was doing. I want to take warriors and throw them in against horrible evil things and just be like, yeah, guys, there's no light. Oh, your torches don't work. Oh, you're in complete darkness. Oh, these things are hunting you and causing torment. I can't
I really
wait.
enjoy using candles and giving them matchsticks, and that's how many torches they have. And every so
Yes.
often blowing the candle out and making them, if they light a matchstick and fail to light the candle and the matchstick goes out, the torch was a dud.
They've broken a torch. I've
That's a
done
really
that
great
before.
way to do that.
Oh, that's fun. That's cool.
I did that with
Joe,
tea
I just
lights
posted
before.
a picture in the chat if you get a chance.
Okay.
The upper left-hand corner is the unit I'm talking about. I swear to God, they look like Annihilators to me. And if you look at them closely, if you zoom in
Oh
on
yeah!
them,
Oh my gosh!
they have
Wow! I didn't even see
blades
those.
in their chests and stuff.
They look
They-
so like Annihilators.
They
Wow.
look just like Annihilators.
Well, they look like Annihilators, except their swords
Yeah.
got turned into question marks. But
Right.
they everything outside of it.
Probably man
Yeah,
they have
gosh.
like the man catcher rule or something,
Sure.
if they're in base to base, the thing can't, and they hit them, they can't leave, and if they're
Yeah.
unless they are not in base to base anymore. That's what I'm guessing.
No, I like the
Yeah.
I think I like their warcasters the most, but I really like the look of their beasts. I can't wait to just
I
throw
do
those
too.
at players. Like giant bats, like that's one of those like the giant bats that you had for Old Umbry. Okay, they were whatever. I just wish the noses were a little bit bigger for bats.
So looking at that same picture, I love the armored bats. The bats that are directly behind the models I was talking about that are unarmored, which I think are the 40s. I really don't like them.
Oh,
I really do not like the way they look. But the ones
like
that
the
have
armored
armor on them,
bats.
I love them. They're
Yeah.
so cool looking.
Yeah,
Which is
Studio
a very
paint schemes
weird
on these
thing.
things are killer too. Like
Oh,
all
dude.
the little like interesting splotches and bits of color and like the.
Are you gonna go
red
with
and the
green
right
skin?
parts.
Are you gonna go with green? Because I was thinking purple. I was thinking like a purplish black.
Gray is what I'm looking at. I'm definitely gonna be painting a starter box, and I'm thinking like a purple gray as the skin tone, and then I'm not sure what the accent color will be. Maybe a blue or something, like a bright blue.
Yeah, I don't know, the studio, I just love like all the interesting skin details and stuff that they did on them. It's not something I did with my trolls. Like I think I could have a lot of fun painting them. And they're just like a way different end of the spectrum too, right? Like totally different kind of painting you could do for these. But yeah, seeing these studio models really got me excited. The vampires I'm like kind of okay on. That's like fine for me. But the beasts, really excited by that.
I don't know. These models are really. Some of them really excite me, and some of them I'm sort of like, okay.
Yeah, that's kind of how it is sometimes.
Yeah.
Like you said, the armored beasts, those look so good. And the guy with the lance on top of one of them, Oh man.
Yeah, that's the Lance solo guy that's
Oh
FA3
yeah.
that has the single piercing attack. That's such a cool model. I can't wait to paint one.
Yeah, really, really good. And that Resheth or whatever they call him,
Yep.
like,
Mhm.
yeah, he just looks perfect. Like, that's the scheme I want to
So,
do. Is like
so
maybe all cool tones and darks and
yeah.
not,
So the funny thing about him, so when Matt was talking about him in the after the announcement trailer or whatever, he's like, yeah, so this Haversheth guy is totally the one that I'm gonna play and that I'm really interested in because he's sort of like he's a misfit or like an outcasty kind of guy, and he plays with all like the dregs and the non super elite stuff, and so he's sort of like the master of the undead or whatever is what it sounded like. So
Oh, that's cool. Okay. He plays a whole different part of the faction.
yeah, supposedly.
It's just
He's
such a good
he's the
model, and
weird
all
one.
that
He
like
does the weird
wax
thing.
dripping from from his mouth is just like, yeah.
Yeah.
I hope he's cool because I could just main that model is so good. I just want to paint the studio scheme for it.
So, Joe, I just want to pitch something to you. I know you said you were for your color. Have you ever seen the movie The Descent, the horror movie
The Descent. No, I haven't.
about the 7 female hiker or cavers that go down and encounter very bad things living in the earth?
Uh-huh.
Um,
Are you? I'm looking at an image of a creepy guy. Is that
yes.
what you're
So
thinking about? Oh man.
the albino white skin. It would be a pain in the butt to
Mhm.
paint. But can you imagine all of the skin of the beast as that like white albino because they've never
Oh yeah.
they have no pigment?
Mm-hmm.
I figure
Yeah.
that'd
It's
be a
like
cool thing.
the pitch black bats. I always thought they were black, but if you go look at them, they're actually that albino white color.
Yeah, yeah. That's the other thought as well.
Yep.
No, I can't wait
Yeah.
to try to like put these into my players areas and just torture them because I'm going to use the quote from Pitch Black. How does it look? It looks clear. Almost kill one of them or maybe kill one of them. How does it look now? Looks clear.
Oh man.
I'm an evil DM, but I enjoy it. But no, I can't wait to use these models. Like I was almost tempted to tell Sheila, I'd be like, hey, so I need to buy all of this. And she'd be like, oh, because you're starting a new army? No, because I'm going to use these just for Iron Kingdoms, just for like some sessions to just torture our friends
So
because I have problems.
so 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 pulling back a little bit from so we've talked a little bit about the fluff, we've talked about the gameplay. So the one aspect of gameplay that we sort of didn't talk about that I'm a little worried about is so this army is going to look cool and a lot of people are going to get into it. And we're going through a period where they're really focused on getting new players in the game. And I'm really worried that because of the sheer power level of these guys and because it sounds like you'll be able to like kill whole colossals or kill multiple beasts or wipe out large sections of your opponent's army in a single turn once you've built up enough hunger with this army. I really feel like I'm really worried about there being like a bad negative play experience from especially against new players playing into this army with other things. What do you guys think about that?
I think maybe that might happen with if they're going against an experienced person, but I think the average person, probably for the first 10, 15, maybe 20 games with them, they're not going to know how to play with them and they're going to end up losing their Warcaster because they're going to play too aggressively, not have enough hunger, and they're going to end up getting killed. So I don't know if that's necessarily going to cause that much of a bad play experience with new players or, players that have been here for like a year or two. It happened with Infernals. People like you had like the top level Infernal players when Infernals first came out, and then you had everybody else. And the lower level people didn't understand how to play Infernals, and you could just wreck them. And I think the same thing's going to happen here. You're going to have, 25, maybe 50 people who are going to just dominate with them. But I think in the local metas, that's not going to happen.
I don't know.
I mean, it's just my thoughts. Like I saw it happen in Infernals. I remember it happening with Grimkin. But once, like and then by the time I think people are going to understand how to play with them, like the local players or like the lower level players, the not top tier guys, then other people are going to understand how to play against them. And then if you have some sort of a bad play experience, that bad play experience wouldn't necessarily just happen against Fan of Nyrro. It might happen against Infernals. It might happen against Grimkin. It might happen against Convergence. It might happen
But-
against any of the modern armies.
Right, but that's not the point I'm trying to make out. The point I'm trying to make is it's the base, is the way the mechanic is designed to function, and how like you're designed to wipe out large chunks of your opponent's army in a single round with this army. Like that's how this army is designed to play.
I get that.
And I'm wondering if that's a bad design mechanic.
No, I think because people are gonna, like I said, are gonna get overextended, and they're not gonna understand how far to push and things like that. So they might wipe out, a third, maybe even half of someone's army, but then they have no way to handle the counter blow. You just kill their caster.
If you wipe out all of my beasts and all of my big infantry things, how do you come back from that?
Resnick too.
No,
I'm just kidding. Like you just do. You just like I'm so used to losing huge amounts of my forces and then just looking at me like, all right, well, plan A and B are dead. Now plan C, chaos. Just go. And eventually you learn how to play the chaos. You learn how to play with half of your army intact. Joe?
So my thoughts are, like, I feel compelled to state the like obvious thing that we don't know very much about this faction yet, and so it's like pretty hard to make a judgment about whether or not that experience will happen, Jay. My second thought is I think it's basically always possible for a good Warmachine player to make a new Warmachine player have a bad time. And like that's like the issue there is that the good player needs to play in a way that both people can have a good time, right? And that's sort
Absolutely.
of independent of the factions that they're playing. My third thing, and I don't want to, like, the first two things aren't really like engaging with your question, so I don't want to be an asshole, so I will engage with it a little bit. I'm not sure that I actually see that potential from this army based on what we've been previewed so far. Like, I actually don't think they look particularly good. And also that, like, it looks to me like the playstyle is actually going to be feeding your opponent first before hitting back, and that's like actually pretty friendly for new players because they get to kill some shit before you fight them. I think it's like much harder for a new player to play a game where like they have to like make the engagement happen. Like it's much easier if you're like throwing beasts into their lines and they're getting to kill them, like, even if there is some crackback. So I don't know. A lot of points there. The main one being I just don't think we know enough to know, but
Okay. I mean, I've played a lot of games in my life. I'm sure you guys have as well. And whenever I've encountered this kind of a strong offensive mechanic, it's always ended up with, in my experience, a bad negative play experience for a lot of players. So
yeah. I mean, what's the thing you're worried about though? That's the bit I'm curious about.
I'm worried about the caster going in or the solo going in. As they talk about this caster, the battle box caster going in and killing a character beast and a heavy beast by itself in a single activation. And
Yeah, I'm just
how
like,
do you come back from them wiping all your beasts out in a single turn? Or how do you come back from and then being able to teleport away to safety after you try and counterattack with your caster? Like it seems like, yes, that they have to make some sacrifices. Yes, they're going to have to sacrifice some stuff at the beginning. Yes, they're going to have to sacrifice some stuff the middle of the game to get away. But it feels like the way this army is designed is that you basically build up a powerful mechanic. You use the powerful mechanic to decimate a large section of your opponent's army, and then you run away and don't have to deal with the consequences.
Well, but
And then
remember
just
though,
wait them out until you've rebuilt the power up or win because you've attritioned them to death.
remember that it's gonna take you time to build it up. So it's not like you're
Is
gonna.
it?
Yeah, they said that so you're going to start with 3. So let's say you start with 3, you generate, we'll say aggressively, you generate 12 on the next turn. When they talked about their
Making the
example
numbers up
of
now. I love it.
no, so he said like the
Mhm.
person came in with like 25 hunger. So if under those conditions, so turn 1, both people run forward. Turn 2, Fan of Nyrro people feed stuff in and generate hunger. Turn 3, they might have enough to get to that 25, but they might not. They might have to take a second hit or try to generate more before going, all out. Otherwise, they're going to be exposed because you still have to have hunger for your defensive ability. If you go, full tilt and you spend all but like 3 of your hunger so that you can get the 1 teleport, but now they can reach you to get in, then you're screwed. So I think the conditions they're talking about, like I'd like to assume that most of the people who play at SFG are high level players. I think
Yeah.
that potential, that the experiences they're talking about on the average game table are going to probably be 1 in 50 times that someone is able to generate that amount of hunger successfully early enough. Otherwise, I think this is happening like the game when maybe the Fan of Nyrro guy turns it over. It's turn 5 or turn 6, which means the new player has gotten to beat on the Fan of Nyrro guy multiple turns, do damage. He thinks he's doing well. Now, maybe on turn 6, he gets tabled or he gets half of his army taken out. I don't necessarily think that's a bad play experience. He probably like, as a new player, he's probably like, dude, I was beating you up until, you turned it. But, you're an experienced player, and I still think I did awesome because I lasted till turn 5, turn 6. I
don't know.
think when you get
I don't
tabled
see
turn
them
2,
needing
turn
turn
3.
5 or turn 6 to get to 25 hunger. Almost
Okay.
everything has a torment or a hunger generating ability. I would guess they'd be at 20 or 25 on their turn 3.
Well,
Maybe.
I don't know. I propose we table this discussion until we've had
Okay.
a turn or 2 to play, right?
Yeah, so we
I
get to
feel
see
like
it.
this could actually happen, and maybe it's like a real thing to be scared about, or a real like cause of concern. It's just really hard to say until we've seen it on the table. It's not really like anything
Yeah.
we've seen before.
It is.
Are
That's
there-
true. That's true. Well, I mean, in Warmachine, it's not like anything I've seen in Warmachine. That's for sure.
Yeah. Are there other previews we want to talk about? We talked a little bit about Menoth. Is there anything else you wanted to say about that, or we wanted to talk about?
I want to see what their new mechanic is for new Menoth because everyone has had their new style or mechanic. I'm wondering what. So like Gravediggers had airdrops. Kithgard can do tunneling. Fan of Nyrro have their hunger ability. I'm wondering what Menoth has.
I hope it's not my least favorite mechanic.
So
Having
you-
no
Member berries.
mechanic. Like
Member berries, Alec. Member
Member
berries
berries.
and fire that doesn't go out.
I mean, oh my goodness. And no, it also boosted fire. Can you imagine boosted fire that doesn't go out?
I mean,
It's Malchius before he got nerfed on
the
his
frogs do
feet.
the same thing right now. So
I know. I want that turned up to 11. Let's say the frogs are at a 6. I want to go 11. I want to just go and get a message.
Oh.
Who did you pray and who did you sacrifice to get your army this way? I'll be like, I sacrificed all of them.
At some point they're going to have to not just make a new mechanic. Like they've been doing that for 2 years solid now. At some point we're going to need to go back into the and polish some of the existing mechanics. I think Menoth is a good one that they could do that with.
If they want to give me magical blessed with good fire and casters that will support the army and the warjacks and give me things like choirs and vassals of Menoth and stuff to make the synergy work together, I am okay with that. I am okay with.
We've already seen the vassal model, so
yeah, no. So I'm okay with the meat and potatoes of Menoth and no gimmick. Would I like a gimmick? Yes. Am I still gonna buy them all, gimmick or not? Also yes. So, like, I'm probably not the right answer for this because for 2 decades I have played Protector of Menoth. I am currently getting ready to print sets of armor because on 4 printers right now I'm printing for my entire family, but come Friday,
Yeah.
I am printing for me. And
Mhm.
but for the new Menoth, I'll just be happy with whatever we get, honestly. And that maybe that's a cop out, but I like the look of the models. I like that the Protector models, they all look like they're beefier, like more muscly. They look like they have maybe a little better tech. You know, some of the gears and stuff look a little bit different, but they still have
They
the
really
like
don't.
almost the okay.
I would
My
really,
opinion, they do.
I really wish I could agree with you, Alec, but they really don't look
It's
any different
okay.
than the old.
That's my
I mean,
opinion.
yes, the Temple Flame Guard guys are beefier. They're bulked up. They're He-Men, effectively looking power level guys. Like that, I agree with that completely. But like the the Revenger looks like a Revenger with some tassels on it. The Heavy Jacks look like the old Heavy Jacks with slightly different shoulder pads. Um,
They have
I'm
better
not saying that
filigree
that's
too.
necessarily a bad thing, and I think that's great because Menoth has been one of the armies that's been really hard to get, and so the fact that they're doing and they're tapping into the old, but like, why are they doing the old chassis that were converted Signar chassis? Why aren't they doing the new that? Why aren't the jacks that we've seen so far using the new chassis
Maybe they
that they
are a new
created
chassis. They just
themselves?
made them look like the old.
Uh,
You could have
but
something
they're
on
so
a like
they're so strikingly different in the way they look, like just the how the jack holds itself, that it's they're the old chassis. I
I
don't
mean,
know.
we'll see
There's a lot of
rules wise.
questions. I have a lot of questions. And I'm sure they're gonna fill us in, and I really hope that there is some new stuff in there that really makes me excited about the faction. But like, if I have all those models and can play those models with what I have, I mean, I might try the new Menoth out, but I won't be buying new models.
I mean,
Um,
just wait till you see Judicator 2.0. I'm
Run,
kidding.
run
hopefully,
for your
we'll see.
lives.
So, but to Joe, to answer your question, I think the only little bit that we need to talk about is the Kith Guard stuff, and really, I think the only piece that we need to like really touch on is the Fortress King
One Scuttlebutt, but yeah.
and
Mhm.
Scuttlebutt, right?
Scuttlebutt, man.
Um, so the fact that the Fortress King is a walking uh trapdoor is crazy,
Yeah,
It
that's
looks
kind of
really cool.
crazy.
and the fact that
Uh-huh.
if a Kith Guard thing isn't base to base with him, they count as being up on top of it and elevated. Is At least that's
That's
what the
hilarious.
rules sound like. Is hilarious, including uh the uh um the caster and the tank. I mean, that's pretty funny. I gotta say.
Yeah, I don't know. It sounds like they're going to be interesting.
Yeah,
The rule for like for new Boomhowler, I think it's the whole army gets impervious flesh, so it's
that's
-1
his
damage
feat.
die.
That's his
Yeah,
feat. Yeah.
pretty cool feat. Um, the Shadow Sheriff was released. That thing has a really interesting design space. It has 3 defensive animi. They can stack. It removes
Huh.
fury when you damage it. Am I getting that right?
I don't know. I haven't really looked at it or seen anybody else talk about it or heard
Yeah, when
anybody
it's
else
hit
talk
by
about
a
it.
melee or ranged attack, you can remove a fury point from it. And so it can like go in as you start damaging it, it removes fury, and then it gets to cast these defensive animi. Um,
As a
they're all pretty
reaction to being
interesting.
attacked.
Yeah, as a reaction to being attacked.
Jesus.
Um,
Okay.
it is not particularly offensive, but has like some really, really unique defensive profile. So I think that's going to be, you know, I think the first
Yeah.
time you fight it, it's going to be a shock. But I think if you have a plan for it, it's probably okay.
What do you
Um,
think about the guys in power armor?
oh, the Kithgard guys in power armor?
Yeah. They look like they
These,
basically just took not Iron Fang, Man of War armor and just added extra stuff to them.
yeah,
It's,
and they have 2 sweet flamethrowers, so they're great with Bugatti Bomb. They seem very cool. I'm very interested in them. I think you'll see them play it quite a bit.
Yeah. And now that they're out, I mean, yeah.
Well, yeah, that always helps.
Are you gonna get the new thing of frogs? Are we gonna see more frogs?
No, I've painted. Alec was talking about the steelbacks, but I've painted
No,
enough.
the fire spitters.
Yeah, no, I've painted enough. I've got
He has
two
full
full units of them. I don't
Okay.
have any Kithgard models, so I mean, I love that they did that. I think it's really cool, but it doesn't have a space for me, unfortunately.
So, talk to us about Scuttlebutt. We know you want to. You've gotten a game in with him.
So Scuttlebutt's really cool. The model is a giant. We think it's a lobster. Is that right? It looks lobstery, but he's in a shell. He's carrying
It's like
a big
a-
shell around in the back. What kind of animal is that?
It's a lobster, but it's
No, it's not.
like
I think it's a hermit crab.
Yes,
He's a giant hermit
That's what
crab.
it is. Yeah, he's a giant hermit crab. He has a
Cool.
big old gun, a claw, and then on top of the shell he's carrying around is a lighthouse with a bunch of pigs. I think the face on it is like really incredible, and excited to do that, to paint that. And the studio paint scheme of the shell is really awesome. So I'm excited about that. Less excited about the lighthouse. Gonna try to find a way to cut that off of him.
And
But
just leave it
otherwise-
off.
Yeah, I'll leave that off and sculpt some shell on the back so he just looks more like a big crustacean. I think I can live with that. Haven't decided if he's gonna get a facelift or not. I'm still thinking about that. I love what they did with the rules on him.
Okay.
I think, in terms of he's got armor 20, a shield, and carapace, so he's going to be really hard to shoot. So good defensive profile. 40 boxes, so they're adding more boxes to the 40 millimeters on the horde side of things. So I think just, not as tanky as the Abyssal King, especially in melee, but against range, maybe even tankier. So I think that's a really nice niche. He has a fairly good gun with range 10, rate of fire 2. He has only one melee weapon, but he's mat 7, and if he hits you with the melee weapon, it clamps you in place, so you can't move, and you get -2 defense. So he can be very accurate. The offensive profile of him is not insane. It's not even particularly stronger, I think, than maybe it's a little bit stronger than a Deepborn Dire Troll with an anchor, but not that much better. What's really cool about him is that he offers some really cool support to your army. So he has an ability called Hold On Lads, which is when he begins an advance, you choose a leader model, a non-leader friendly faction warrior model within 1 inch. And then when Scuttlebutt's move ends, you can push the chosen model 3 inches directly towards Scuttlebutt. So he can drag your infantry models 3 inches forward or to whatever direction. And that gives you 3 inches of threat extension, which is really, really good. It's a thing trolls don't have a ton of access to. And he compounds that by having a ranged weapon, which is a spray 12, that basically, it doesn't do any damage, but it basically does Hunter's Mark. So that's really good for extending your beast threat ranges. You can give 5 inches of threat range to an infantry model. He also has roadblocks, so he gives cover to your friendly models. So he just offers a ton of really good utility. Pretty serviceable melee package. A pretty serviceable offensive output package for 22 points. Not insane. But I think he's going to do a lot of interesting stuff. You can ancillary attack him with his spray and have him spray something, and then you can charge the thing he sprayed and get some extra speed. He's got sidestep on his 1 initial, so if he hits it, he gets another 2-inch juke. His animus gives Swift Hunter, so he can continue shimmying around the board if you can kill things with it. So he's got a bunch of weird movement in his activation too. I think he's going to be really fun. Don't know if he's going to be how did Erica put this? An every time food or something like that. But I think, he'll often find a place in a pair, that he'll have a good spot in some lists, that kind of thing.
Yeah, I'm really looking forward to the rumored 80 mil for Ombre. I think that.
Yeah, well, it's not even rumored, right? They
Yeah,
showed us that it's coming. Like,
well, we know that it's on the calendar. The rumor is what it is.
I
We
heard that it
haven't.
was Drago. Is that what you've
Yeah,
heard?
well, yeah, I've heard the same thing. I've heard it's Drago as a war with Fury instead of Focus, which I think is a really cool idea. I would love. It's interesting to see like Drago get a almost like a. It sounds like a Deathjack kind of rebuild,
Mm.
which sounds interesting. I don't know. I mean, we haven't seen it for sure. We haven't seen a model. None of the SFG guys have talked about it like in a group or on a forum, or an ADA, where it's like actually officially going to be that. But it's definitely coming in August, which I think is exciting. So
Man, I wonder if it was Drago. Can you imagine if Drago has like, that mind and that memory and he thinks that Vlad is still with him?
he knows that Vlad. He actually is aware of Vlad's son. That Vlad's
No,
son is
no, but I
around.
meant like in his mind, like if he was like
He
imagine
knows he's
like
dead, and he's bonded to Vlad's son.
okay, yeah, I was trying to make the reference that like
Yeah.
if he's sentient and I know he's bonded to his son, but kind of like Lola with Butcher, give the like Vlad is still there encouraging Drago like, yep, there's my boy, you follow him, you go you help him, go ahead, come on, there you go, like ghostly influence.
I mean, he did wake up from being like off
or inert,
when Vlad's son was captured
inert
by the Butcher. Like he just woke up and hopped off his display pillar and knocked a mechanic out and ran into broke through the doors and ran out into the night to try and go find Vlad's son. So there's something going on there. We don't know what it is. It could be, Vlad was like, "Hey, get up. You have work to do."
Man, I would this like, don't get me wrong. I love Warmachine, but the stories and the fluff that are potentially behind it because of what they have given us in the past, and then what we are like, man, what crazy stuff are they going to give us in the future? I wonder if they listen to stuff like this and they're like, that's a good idea. Hold on, write that down.
Hold on, write it down. Oh man.
Oh
man.
All right.
I mean, they probably have a lot better than what we got, though.
Do we have any other things that we want to talk about from the update? Is there any more content we want to talk about tonight?
I'm trying to think.
That's it for me, man. Yeah.
Yep.
Have you guys looked at the June updates for my mini factory?
Yep.
Okay. Did you like the new terrain and stuff?
I do. And in fact, I'm going to ask you to print a bunch of it for me as soon as it's out.
Huh. Funny enough, I have printers now. I can do that.
I know. I will be putting in I'm not going to say extremely large, but a more than that terrain order with you in June or July.
Well.
Stuff that I want printed before Nova opens so that I can get it painted on tables for Nova open.
That sounds good. See, I really want to revisit that stalactite stalagmite table, because you could have it be the Fan of Nyrro table.
I think it's actually going to end up the Chimera table. So I'm going to have you print a bunch of the Chimera table stuff.
No, but I just meant
as a Chimera table. It needs to be revisited because there's a bunch of pieces of terrain on it that are too large.
And, I know. I just meant that like I would like to see that type of terrain.
I think Fan of Nyrro tables are going to be have like the ruins of or the catacombs of Ios are going to be like the kind of stuff you see. So it'll be like ancient buildings and ruined tunnels and stuff like that instead of like a big lava stalagmite table. I think that fits better with Chimera.
Man, anyone do an Egyptian Fan of Nyrro?
Right. Ooh, that would be pretty good.
Don't tempt me with good time, Joe.
He already has too many projects.
I know a baseline.
Oh man.
But no, I'm gonna try and avoid that. I don't know exactly what I'm gonna do with the ones I'm getting, but something ancient. I'll probably do like like Ruin City, Ruin, almost like Ruin, probably like Rome kind of bases, probably.
Oh yeah,
That'd be pretty
Rome
cool.
would be interesting. Very cool.
Yep.
Temple, very temple like
Yeah,
temples and that kind of stuff.
Ruin temple kind of bases. Yeah. All right, guys. I'm burning out. I'm sure you guys are too.
Yeah,
We're
I'm
sort
ready
of
for bed.
having big pauses and stuff. So, thank you everyone for tuning in to episode 35 of the Atlanteans. Hopefully you're as excited as we are about the future. I know I'm sort of the glass half empty sort of outlook, and where like Alec is the glass half full, and some people are cautiously excited. I'm cautiously worried, but that's just basically that's just who I am, and
We're all just reading
I'm
our
worried.
prayers, right?
Yeah.
It's like whatever we believed before we knew anything. That's what we're talking about.
Right.
So, yeah.
And you gotta take what I say or what Alex says or what any of us with a grain of salt. It's gonna be
Except for me.
Joe has insider
Joe
knowledge.
is perfect.
Yeah.
Joe is perfect, and everything Joe says is right. I mean, come on.
There you go. Let's call it a podcast. We've done it. Also, send that to my wife. She needs to know.
All right, guys. So we'll have one more episode in the next week or so, probably at the beginning of June. We have our 2-year anniversary coming up. We'll probably talk about some things there. But then we'll probably take a little bit of hiatus in June while Joe moves up to Northern Virginia.
Mhm.
You're gonna be missed down here, Joe. But it is what it is.
It's
You got a
sad to
wife
be,
in the
but I'm
military,
sure I'll see you all again, right? So,
yeah, absolutely. Right, guys.
Nova
So, I think-
2026.
Yeah, or before. All right. Thank you very much, everyone, for tuning in. This has been Jay
And Alec.
and Joe.
Have a good night.
Bye.